So here I got the ticker GOED. I want to go over it, do some technical analysis and some fundamentals because it was real volatile last week. I think it's going to be an interesting play heading into the next week. So first thing I noticed is a new stock started trading under this ticker August 2020, and we see a spike in October, late October, sold right off. But then over the course of the next few months, it rose back up to near that highs of that candle. But since February, we've been in a sharp downtrend until last week when we spiked high up, and here we are under 2. I mean, crazy volatility. Let's look at it. 5-minute candles on the 3-day chart to get a better feel. So the stock, was just kind of trading with pretty low volume in the 3, 4, 6 range. And then bam, it spikes over $21 right before open. I mean, this is about 5 minutes before the opening bell, so very suspicious. And as we can see, there's only 243,000 volume, so not much. But we're in the market where people are chasing whatever. So there was no news, there was no catalyst. It was just a sudden spike on a thinly traded ticker that didn't have much on the ass. So it moved really quick, opened up, moved sharply down into a halt, which proceeded to last for an hour or so as they contacted the company, and the company claimed they had no reason why the stock was moving as it was. So we actually sold all the way off down to the 4s and back to the fives, low 4s, until they actually do an offering. So this is what caught my eye. I wasn't interested in it. A lot of people were dip buying it at 5 because it had been at 21, what turned me off was the volume. I don't know why it had jumped that suddenly and quickly on that little of volume. I just figured a lot of people are now underwater. Shorts got handed a perfect play, but it got even better for the shorts because check what happened. They actually announced a offering. They announced they don't know what happened and why this stock spiked, but they went ahead and they did an offering with warrants at $225. And here's what's crazy is, so we had to go back and just look at the last 10Q to really get a feel for this. As of May, here we are right here. As of May 10th, 2021, there was 6.1 million shares. They did an offering for 91 million units, and each unit consists of a share and a warrant. So that's 180 plus million shares of dilution to a 6 million share company. And the warrants are at 225 when the company had previously been trading, at a 21 plus range to 5. So absolutely murdering anyone that held the stock overnight or had ever bought this stock pretty much. So this is the type of opportunity I love. I love finding the most amount of panic and pain and fear and all that in the stock market. And here's one perfect example of that. So some people could have bought this got filled, 15 plus and been down 66% same day, and then next day you're down, I don't even know, that's almost all your money pretty much. So but what's interesting is now how about if you're not in and you're getting in at these levels? So that's what I want to talk about. So first thing I want to talk about is, at first I thought, wow, what a shady, sketchy, opportunist company this is. I'm not interested. But then the more due diligence I did, the more interested I become, because check this out. So as we noted earlier, they spiked in October of 2020, right here, remember? 7, it spiked up all the way back up to 17 and sold off this news. So they announced the definite agreement for the acquisition of 100% ownership in Appliance Connection, a leading online retailer of household appliances with a projected 2020 revenue of $300 million. So they believe this will create one of the largest independent online retailers of household appliances. So initially they expected this deal to be finished in the first quarter of 2021. As we're now in the beginning of the second quarter, we're seeing it didn't come true, but I believe they're doing this offering. They used that sudden spike and extra volume, and they capitalized on it, and they did this offering that they were already planning on, as you could see through their filings, they already had the shelf open a couple days before this. And here they are, they're going to do this offering, get this money, and now in the future, in the next coming week or so, I expect them to finish this acquisition they have a definite entry into. So that's a big catalyst, as well as it's not as big of a catalyst, but they do expect this offering is expected to close on June 2nd. So I'm expecting a press release on June 2nd of the offering being closed, as well as in the near term future the acquisition being closed. And what's interesting too is here they've actually dropped the earnings more recently, and it shows that with combined revenue of 123 million in the first quarter and 13 million dollars in income. So there's a lot of dilution. This is a situation of a lot of dilution from a previous low float stock to now a profitable, fairly big revenue and profitable company. So it's an interesting situation from where it's at now, because it does represent so much dilution to the current amount of shares. But when people look into this and see that combined revenue up 84% year over year to 123 million in the first quarter. And here's another interesting thing. So here we go. We remain on track to completing the Appliance Connections acquisition in the second quarter. And as well as them, and this is even more recent, where they're saying the Appliance Connection report March orders are up 106 and 110% respectively. So Appliance Connections rose 110% to 58.7 million in just March, up from 57.9 million in March 2020. That's crazy. So interesting play here. So let's look at the some of the charts. So when we're looking all the way back to the year, there's really no resistance until 430 to 440. So that's gonna be my furthest out price target, a full recovery back to where it was. I mean, with the amount of dilution, it's gonna be hard to do that. It's gonna take some volume. So let's look at the closer targets. So I'm gonna have to go to the 3-day. Let me see what the low day was on Friday. So it was 177. So that's going to be my first support level. It's going to be 177. And it's so close to 175. I'm going to lump that together. 175 to 177. That needs to hold. Underneath that, it will be 165. And then I'll say 150 psychological price levels. So 177, 175 will be my first support. 165 and then 150 will be underneath that. But it's never even been there, so it's not going to be solid support. It's never even seen that price, this ticker. So above that, let's look at price targets. So the high of day was 191 in the intraday hours on Friday. So 191 will be the first price target resistant level. Above that, it's going to say 2 of the psychological 2 level. And then above that, since we didn't see any price action, it's going to be the 225 of the warrants exercise price. That's going to be the big level of dilution. Where every time we get over there, there's going to be potential dilution. So 225 is going to be hard to get over unless there's significant volume. So I'm going to say 191, $2. I'll say 215 and then 225. The 215 just being the psychological level. But we haven't seen much price action at that level, so it could go right through it. And once we get over 225, it'll be I'll use just psychological levels, because it will be the 250, the 275s, the 3s, and then from there, I think with volume, we go right back up to that 4-ish level at 4-ish, 430-ish. But we're gonna have a lot more shares, so it's gonna have to take a lot of volume. But what's interesting is I see this AMC crowd trickling over into the GOD stock board. I mean, people are posting every minute on a Sunday night, on a Sunday morning, on a Saturday night. I'm pretty surprised for this type of obscure little ticker. The volumes, the watchers on StockTwist have grown 15% overnight. And I think it might be a fun play come Monday morning. Back to the $2.225 level.